will be married this coming August. She is a practicing Catholic. Her fiance is a baptized Protestant, not sure which denomination. They recently attended the marriage encounter weekend. They both got a lot out of it, but our daughter called last night to discuss how to handle raising of children. Her fiance is fine with the children being raised Catholic. I mentioned to her that that was non-negotiable. Now, the only concern her fiance has is that he doesn't want the children to only experience Catholicism. He would like them to see the religion that he has been raised in. Our daughter's solution is to bring the children to Vigil Mass on Saturday and then possibly have them go to the Father's service on Sunday. Personally, I think this would confuse a child, but I wanted to get your take on it. Also, do you recommend any books or internet sites that might address the issue? We're very fond of our daughter's choice, and the families that her fiance comes from are very wonderful people. But I am happy and glad to see our daughter not giving up raising her children in the Catholic faith. Many thanks. God bless. John.
Yeah, thanks, John. I really appreciate the question. So, um, I here's your daughter, of course, is obligated morally and canonically to raise her children in the Catholic faith. Okay, um, the fiance, not being Catholic, does not have that moral obligation personally, but he is obligated not to. Well, he needs to understand the nature of your daughter's obligation,
Mm-hmm.
and not set himself at cross purposes to that. Now, um, this is my own private, personal judgment here. Okay, in every situation, you got to bring prudential reason to play into play. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so not knowing the family, not knowing the individuals, let's qualify everything that I say. But uh, here is the principal danger that I see in the situation that you have laid out. Okay, and that is the danger of indifferentism. All right, what is indifferentism? Well, indifferentism is a position of ideology that says I'm indifferent as to religious affiliation. One religion, or in this case, one Christian ecclesial community is as good as another. Now, um, there are people who regard the Catholic Church as just yet another denomination, and that the differences between, in their view, the differences between Catholicism and Protestantism are basically cosmetic or stylistic, and or cultural, or you have it, but they're ephemeral or accidental. They're not essential differences. And so the choice of Catholic versus Protestant is apples and oranges, or do you like smells and bells, or do you like guitars and drums? I mean, and
Yeah.
and if you conceptualize the choice that way, you've shot yourself in the foot from the beginning.
Right.
All right. Um, this is not about me, but let me just frame this in my personal narrative
Mm-hmm.
just to make sense of it. I didn't become Catholic because I liked the style of worship. All right. I didn't become Catholic because I thought that the local Catholic parish had good preaching. I didn't become Catholic even because I think that liturgy is a good idea. I mean, none of these things motivated me to become Catholic. I became Catholic, and I believe this is the principal reason one should become Catholic, because I became persuaded that the Catholic Church was continuous with that same institution founded by Jesus, about which he said to St. Peter, "Thou art Peter, and on this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." And that it was by becoming Catholic that I could obey the divine command
Mm-hmm.
to be at one with those that are followers of Christ and to agree on everything. All right. And also, I could fulfill the Lord's command that he gave to the apostles to distribute to me the elements of his body and blood when he said, "Do this in memory of me."
Mm-hmm.
And that apart from the Catholic Church, I could not authentically obey these commands. I could not live in good conscience as a Christian, because Christ did not intend 50,000 different ecclesial societies. He intended one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. All right. And the differences between Protestant and Catholic are substantive and meaningful. Okay. When I was in seminary as a Protestant
Mm-hmm.
in the mid 90s, the document Evangelicals and Catholics Together was put out by the ECT organization. And it's done a lot of good, and I'm a fan, and I'm glad it's out there. My Protestant seminary professors were just dead set against that document. They hated it, with just completely tooth and nail against it, because they understood that at the core of these two religious systems, there is a very, very, very important difference about the way we conceptualize our relationship to God and to our fellow man. All right, and it boils down to the question of, do I need my life to be morally transformed inwardly by grace in order to be saved? And the core of the whole Catholic system is the conviction that through the sacraments of the Catholic Church and profession of the Catholic faith, adherence to the Catholic faith, that my life can be inwardly transformed by grace in charity, and thus I can be united to God. All right? At the heart of the Protestant system is a denial of that thesis, a flat-out denial that we are saved by the inward transformation of grace through charity, but instead the conviction that we're saved by faith alone, and that the whole sacramental system of the Church is at best accidental to that process, or a mere adjunct to facilitate the act of personal faith, through which, and uniquely through which, we're saved. Now, those are very different ways of conceptualizing relationship to God, and they make a profound difference. They make a profound difference. And so, while I think it's a good idea to educate children in the nature of religious pluralism and to give them the proper historical and intellectual categories to make sense of their world, and also to be charitable towards people that differ from them. I mean, I don't want to raise a bunch of narrow-minded bigots who go around and beat people over the head with the catechism. I mean, the way I would suggest you move forward is to make the determination that these kids will be taught the truth of the Catholic faith as such, all right? Which means that eventually they have to be able to conceptualize the differences between Catholic and Protestant in a way that they understand the objective superiority of the Catholic faith. All right? Not in a way that makes them look down on their relatives or anything like that.
Of course not.
But just that they understand that this is a church founded by Christ, and they can. If I were in your shoes, I would think that down the road a bit, all right, they can. There are a lot of ways to inculcate respect and tolerance without also inculcating indifferentism. For instance, praying with the grandparents, talking about Christ with the grandparents, studying Scripture with the grandparents. Okay, but always from sort of a base of operations, if you will, where the Catholic faith is primary.
Sure.
All right. So that's my I think that the Protestant fiance needs to understand that this is how we conceptualize the nature of the problem, so that he understands that it's not for us a matter of, well, this is our tradition and this is our denomination or this is our ecclesial preference. No, we believe this is true. Okay.
Yep.
And if I'm marrying into this family, I'm signing on, recognizing that we're going to operate from the perspective that the Catholic faith is true. All right, which means that wherever any other religious system contradicts a claim of Catholicism, it's the Catholic Church that's correct.
Yeah, sounds good. John, we hope that's helpful for you. Thank you so much for your email. When we come back, we'll